Welcome. Today we're going to do Parshas Seitzei. So the pasuk says like this: Ki yeh b'cha ish asher lo yeh toher. It can be somebody who is not toher. So the Gemara says in Pesachim like this. Amar Rav Shua ben Levi, La'olam lo yotzi adam davar megunim b'piv. A person shouldn't use a bad word. And he says that it says Behema Torah and Behema Sheinana Torah, so you have 8 extra letters, and it could have said that Tameya, it could have 8 extra letters. Rav Papa Amar Teisha, you find that the Torah uses 9 extra letters. With this pasuk, Ki b'cha ish asher lo yeh toher, and Ravina says 10. The vav of toher, 10. So Rashi says like this. Ashlo yeh toher, halal michtav ish tamei. Even if you say Torah is chaser, so you have, if Torah would be chaser, if let's count the letters. Hasher is 3, Loi is 2, is 5, Yeh is 4, is 9, Torah is 4, is 13. So if so take off 3 for Tameh is 10. Rav Papa says it's 9. How 9? It should be 10. So that, like Ravina says. So he says that even if you would say that it's chaser, that it was spelled without the vav, then it would be 12. And take off 3, it's 9. Ravina says no, that it's 10. So Rashi says why? Because it's not chaser. The loy chaser is not chaser. In the Torah it says a vav in there, so it's not chaser. So what's the pshat in Rav Papa? If it would have been, if you don't count the vav, then it would be 9. So that's why it has 9. But Lemaisa, there is a vav there. So Ravina seems to be correct that you have 13 letters, and if it said Tameh, there'll be 3. So take it off, you have 10. So I want to say that the Amalekites of Rav Papa and Ravina is how you look at a chacham. Rav Papa looks at a chacham as not a letter. He looks at it as a nekuda. It's like a komet, it's like a pasach. So even a chacham gadol, where it comes with a vav, is also only nekuda. It's not a letter, so you can't count it. So that's what he's saying. If you don't count the vav, then you end up with 12 minus 3 is 9. But Ravina holds that the chaylam is a letter. The dot on top of it is the kuda, but the vav is a letter. You count it as a letter. If you count it as a letter, you have 13 letters. You take off 3, you have 10. It's not a thought. Okay. So the pasuk says like this: that if you lend money to a poor person and you take a mashkin, if the person that you lend money to is an ani, don't keep his his blanket. I don't know what it is exactly. So don't keep it overnight. As soon as the sun goes down, give him back his blanket. And he'll be able to sleep with his garment. He'll bench you. So Rashi says like this: he'll bench you. Even if he doesn't bench you, so what exactly is Rashi saying over here? What's the point for the bracha? Is this like the schar of the mitzvah of giving back the avot? Is tzedakah? It's tzedakah. You're giving him the avot to use it at night. That's tzedakah. So the schar of that mitzvah is that he's going to bench you. That's the schar of the mitzvah tzedakah. And if he doesn't bench you, so then you'll have tzedakah anyway. Without that schar, is that what the pasuk is? Is that what the pasuk is saying? If you look back in Parshas Re'eh, it says like 6 points. That's where it's talking about regular tzedakah. Don't have bad feelings in your heart. You're not going to give him tzedakah. The Ani will complain about you to the Rebbeinu Shleilam, and you will have an Aveira. So over here, this is in the Iker Parsha of tzedakah, not the Avoid. This is the main Parsha of tzedakah, and it doesn't say anything about the Ani giving you a bracha. It doesn't say anything about a bracha. And over here it says it's a bracha. And the Sifri says that there's a mitzvah on the Ani to give you a bracha. So if there's a mitzvah on the Ani to give you a bracha here, why is there a mitzvah on the Ani to give you a bracha by the Iker mitzvah of tzedakah? It doesn't say that he should give you a bracha. It says if you don't give him, you should know he's going to complain to the Rebbeinu Shalom about you. It's not going to be good for you. But where's the Ani's bracha for giving him tzedakah? So I'd like to say something that I heard from my brother Yisrael. I think it's very good. So he says like this, that people have an attitude that there's tzedakah and there's business. And the two are not the same thing. I can give you tzedakah, I'll give you tzedakah. But if we're going to do business, we'll do it business-like. So that's you want tzedakah, ask me for a handout, I'll give you a handout. You want to do business with me? Then let's do business the way businessmen do business. So over here, he's saying like this. You have to give him back his avoid. When you lend somebody money, then that's a big mitzvah of tzedakah to lend somebody money. But if you take a mashkin from him, that's business-like. So I say, okay, I'm going to lend you money, but I want a mashkin. So that's business. So if it's business, why should I give you back the mashkin? We're doing business. So why should I give you back the mashkin? And if you do give back the mashkin, that is already a higher madrega of tzedakah, where even when you're doing business, you're still doing it in the oifen of tzedakah. So that's what he's saying over here. That when you give him back the avoid, he'll give you a bracha, because he will recognize that what you did is a high madrega of tzedakah. And he has a mitzvah, according to the Sifri. He has a mitzvah to recognize that. You went and you borrowed money and you signed a shtar and you gave him a mashkin, you're doing business with him the way you would do with anybody else. And still, he gave you back the mashkin to use at night. It's incumbent on the Ani to recognize what kind of a tzedakah that this Malva did with him, and he should give him a bracha for it. And it's a mitzvah for him to do it. If he fails to do that, so the Pasuk is telling you, even if he fails to it, but you know that you did really chacham with tzedakah. But before, when it's talking about the mitzvah of tzedakah, so this is regular tzedakah. This is not business. This is tzedakah. By tzedakah, the Ani doesn't have to recognize it, and he doesn't have to give you. I mean, it'd be nice if he gave you a bracha, but he doesn't have a special obligation to appreciate how you went beyond what you were required to do. You had a mitzvah, give me tzedakah. Okay, give me tzedakah. Fine. But when it comes to the avoid, when it comes to the mashkin, if he gives it back to you, the Ani should recognize it and he should give you a bracha. I think it's very good. Okay, now, I'd like to say something about the end of the parsha. You have to destroy Amalek. Now, I want to talk about what happened by Shaul. How you mekayim this machay timcha? So Shaul went and he killed all the Amalekim. He attacked Amalek. He killed everybody. Only he left Agag, and that night he impregnated a shivcha, and then when Shmuel killed him, but that child that the shivcha gave birth to, that was the reconstitution of Amalek. So at that point there was nobody left. There was only this fetus. That was all that was left. But if you look in the Psukim, like a few months after this, David at that time, he had his group, his few hundred men, and they were living in Ziklag, which is in Plishtim, and they went out on a raiding party. And when they came back, they discovered that Amalekim had abducted their families. And it says a very interesting lashon in the pasuk that they cried and cried until they couldn't cry anymore, which is like really something. Just as a side point, they cried when they lost their families, and it's not like they were killed, but they were abducted. They were alive, and they lost them. It was so heartbreaking that they cried until they just all cried out. They couldn't cry anymore. But the question is, where did these Amalekim come from? All that at this point, all that there was a fetus. Where did these Amalekim come from? So some Mepharshim want to say that there's a medrash that some Amalekim with Kishiv turned themselves into behemoths. So the behemoths that weren't killed, some of them were really Amalekim masquerading as behemoths. So these behemoths, they turned themselves back into people, and these were the Amalekim. It's a medrash, but I think it's a little difficult to say that the Pshuta Shel Mikra is based on a medrash to which there is no remez in the pasuk. I think that's a little bit difficult to say. So I would like to suggest a pshat like this, and I think it's maybe correct. When Shaul attacked Amalek, the cities of Amalek, and he killed everybody, but at that time, there were Amalekim that were out in the field. There were Amalekim that were on raiding parties. There were Amalekim that were on business trips. There were Amalekim on vacation in Mexico. There were Amalekim that were out, that were not there. They were scattered around. There were other Amalekim. All the Amalekim weren't in the cities. But if he had killed everybody, he destroyed the city, and he killed the king, then all those Amalekim out there would have been assimilated into other nations, and the Amaleki nation would cease to exist. It was not necessary to kill every single Amaleki. It was necessary to wipe out the Amaleki nation. That's what was necessary. And if he had killed everybody, and he had killed the king, but since he left the king, then later, these were Amalekim. They were out there. They raided Siklab. But later, when this king grew up, then that was like a focal point, and the whole nation could reconstitute itself around. And all these stragglers that are out there, they could coalesce again into a reconstituted nation of Amalek. So that was the problem. The problem was that he didn't kill Agag, therefore all those Amalekim that were out in the field, all those Amalekim once again became Amalek. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you next week.